So let's so I'm speaking about my experience in Linux Foundationship program in the Spring cohort at Chaosmas.
Sorry, uh, your voice is breaking up a little bit.
Okay, let me see. Yeah. Hello, is it okay now?
Can you try talk a bit more?
Yeah. Okay, I'll be talking about my experience as a LFX mentee for the Spring cohort at Chaosmas. Is it okay now? Voice.
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Let's go ahead. Yeah. Mentorship topic basically is implementing AWS chaos. What this means is we have one chaos, AWS chaos called Chaosmas, and the requirement was to implement more chaos under this AWS chaos main gateway. So now we have EC2 restart, EC2 start stop, and detach volume as three of the basic chaos. And at the moment we are implementing more chaos. Actually, I'll be talking about what we are doing. And we have an amazing mentor, Zao. Pardon me if I pronounce it wrong, but yeah. So yeah, it's been like we have been planning things and we have been implementing it part by part, and it's been going great in this months. So basically, about me, I'm a undergraduate in the Department of Biomedical Engineering,
Sorry,
and
sorry. Your voice is still breaking up. Can you somehow make it a bit better?
wait, let me check my internet connection a bit. Yeah, actually, it's
Awesome.
raining here, so that's why like.
Ah, I heard about the cyclone. Is there a cyclone there?
Yeah, actually, that cyclone is quite near to my house. It happened 2 days like early.
Wow. Are you
Okay,
okay?
yeah, I'm absolutely fine. And so internet, like okay, is it okay now? I just reconnected.
I think it's better.
Okay,
What?
uh, okay. So let me go ahead and see. It's,
Yeah,
so
it's
yeah,
much better now.
okay. So basically, saying is, I'm from a biomedical engineering department at a college called National Institute of Technology, Rourkela in India. And yeah, I have been like contributing to open source, and basically before starting this mentorship I didn't have much idea about what Kubernetes is and how to work with microservices technology, specifically like such large repositories. And yeah, that's what I have been learning, and you could find me more details about like in Twitter and LinkedIn. You could connect with me, and more details about the mentorship and projects all could be found in the Linux Foundation mentorship dashboard. uh, so let's start. Yeah, so we will be talking about the different things, how it started from the day I started applying till this till now. So yeah, basically this foundation mentorship happens 3 times a year. It's a 12-week mentorship program. There are 3 cohorts. One is summer cohort, autumn cohort, and winter cohort. And I was selected under the summer cohort under Chaosmas. And actually, when I applied, also I applied to the 2 projects under Chaosmas only. One is this implementing AWS Chaos, and another was as much as I remember, engineering as a service. Fortunately, got selected for this. And what I did as a selection process is I submitted my CV and my cover letter in the initial stage, and then I was asked to submit a task by my mentors, and I submitted the task. The task was very easy, I guess. It was for some array and data structure question, and I had to write a few test cases for that. And yeah, I wrote it in C++ and submitted the code as like I uploaded the code in Git and submitted the link. And then after a few days, I got selected. Maybe in the month of February, yeah, first week of February, I got a mail. I was selected, and then from that day, I started interacting with my mentor, and the whole communication we had took place in Slack. And yeah, and we started this whole mentorship thing from that. Yeah. So the first few days, as I said, it was quite beginner to Kubernetes and Glue, and my mentor suggested to go through some of the resources. So yeah, basically I knew what Kubernetes is. Like I knew the overall idea of Kubernetes. Like it's an orchestration tool, container orchestration tool, but I didn't know the core thing, like the packages, the controllers, and all those things. So I had to go through a few of the texts and uh, start with some trivial contribution to Chaosmas, and that helped me to know more about Kubernetes and Golang. Uh, Sorry, it's showing my internet connection is unstable. Like, am I audible?
Sorry, the audio is still like going through weird things.
Okay, okay. Yeah, Mila, could you help me sharing your screen? I think sharing my screen takes more bandwidth and my voice is also getting.
Yeah, sure. Hold on, let me open that document.
Yeah,
All right, here we go. Where were we? Here?
six sides. Yeah, okay. Uh, So as you could see here, like these are the beginners issue I started with, and basically these issues were suggested to me by my mentor only. And the first issue which I solved is this: there's a update make file. Yeah, this issue was only raised by my mentor, and then I just did an update in the make file. So what was this change is to replace the all make all thing to the first place. So at any time you run make now, it is the make all recipe that is the default recipe running other than what was previously. So yeah, it was just a replacement thing, taking it from line 70 to the line 1. And yeah, that's how this first issue was. And this first issue especially helped me to learn about the how to contribute. Basically, I didn't have any idea about this DCO and all those things. uh, as much as I remember, in the first time I contributed, I had this issue and error coming up, like the DCO test case was failing. And then my mentor helped me to understand this DCO, CLA, and EULA, what are these things and why we need to take care about it. And then I learned about few of the CLI commands which I need to take care while Git commands, basically, which I need to take care while making a pull request. Yeah, that was about the first issue. And the second one was quite an interesting feature which I could have added, is that Chaosmas target support for more than one container. So what was the issue here is in in Kubernetes or in this basically Chaosmas, what we have under this, you could see in stress chaos types.go, this is a field called container name. What does this field does is it helps us to inject chaos only in one container. So this container name field being a string, it was the error that was coming up. So we need to restructure it in the form of a loop and in the form of an array so that we could support multiple containers. As suggested by my mentor, I started with stress chaos and we converted it into string. I did a lot of changes. I actually, it was my first time I changed a lot of files in between. And unfortunately, what happened is the changes I suggested, it broke the Kubernetes API. So this was not possible for them to release in the version 1.2.0. Also, if it had to be released in version 2.0.0, already there was a feature pull request that has been done to support this multi-containers thing. So it was basically what I did, but yeah, it was basically just a learning thing, nothing feature addition that happened to Chaosmas. Yeah, then we can go to the next slide. Yeah. So then we started with Chaosmas. It was the prime motive of my whole mentorship program. I was required to implement one type of AWS Chaos. But as I started exploring more about this, what AWS Chaos is and how it works in other places, I found something called AWS SSM Chaos Runner. And me and my mentor, we went into discussion about it, what this whole AWS SSM Chaos Runner is and how it could help us. So my mentor came up with an amazing plan. What we planned is, let's do one thing, integrate this whole AWS SSM chaos runner with chaos mesh so that we get a lot of chaos that is already present under SSM chaos runner under the chaos mesh. Rather than implementing one by one multiple chaos, it might take a lot of time. Integrating it would be an easier one. And we divided it again into two parts. The first part is what we call the runner thing, which integrates AWS SSM chaos runner. Actually, it's a CLI part and a Kotlin based CLI, which is supposed to be made into a Docker image. And then this Docker image is to be used in the second part of this project. The second part is a controller part in AWS chaos, which we write in Golang. And what this controller does is it creates a pod with that Kotlin CLI image and sends commands to AWS. Like we create the image and under the arguments, we send commands to this AWS that would help to run this AWS SSM chaos runner. And the work has been pretty much done actually, but we got few errors that we are getting up. We can move to the next slide now. Yeah, so we first started with an RFC this time. Like, what happened last time about the stress chaos thing. We wanted to avoid that. We started with an RFC, and then the AWS system chaos runner CLI work is already done. And again, now since we are using local stack to test our this whole thing, this AWS environment, so you could say it's just an environment to test AWS, like production-based AWS testing for in our local system. So in the local stack, we got an error. The error was the date time format, which is not consistent. And we have raised an issue with the local stack repository, but till now it's been 14 days and it's not have been worked out. So today only I was discussing about it, and me and my mentor we thought like we'll go with some other way to make it work. And the controller work, actually, when I made this slide, the work was in progress and it's been done now. The controller work is almost complete. Just after this, we solve this date time format inconsistency. We will integrate it and implement this whole thing. Next slide, please. Yeah. So what the next planning is like officially my mentorship is getting over. You could say the end of this month, but yeah, fortunately this is an open source contribution, so I will obviously uh, continue contributing this, and this AWS whole chaos thing is very important to me now. Like now I have started realizing how it could break things, we could implement it. And my plan is to finish this controller work as soon as possible, and integration work, like errors will come, as we start integrating and applying it, and complete this work within this month. And then we have this plan, like whatever you see in the AWS chaos under Chaosmas or AWS system chaos runner, they all use this AWS EC2 instance to inject a chaos. But there has been very less developments under Lambda, AWS Lambda, to use it as a client to inject chaos. And only I think Chaos Lambda is the only chaos thing that is available to implement it through Chaos Lambda, AWS Lambda. And we want to extend it to that. And I was talking to my mentor about it only this week only. And yeah, we have to go through it if we see if we could implement it. And then my mentor has another plan, which is quite it's not a priority order now, but yeah, he plans to write it down, the whole AWS system chaos runner, which is at Kotlin and Golang, which obviously will take a lot of time. But for now, we choose this path of integrating it rather than writing the whole thing, as it would take a lot of time. And by integrating, we get a credible source, and also in a short period of time, we are able to have more chaos under this AWS chaos. Yeah, next please. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, I could say like I started with zero knowledge in Kubernetes and also with Linux, and which I forgot to mention also, in the initial days when I started with whole Linux environment, my mentor helped me to realize the importance what Linux is, how the permissions are taken, and we did few experiments in there also, basically Linux based, like EIC, switching on and off of EIC and all those things. Yeah, so that's what, like in this 3 months, which I could say now I knew nothing about Kubernetes. Now I am able to write my own custom CRDs, and also at my own controllers. So I feel that's a lot of learning in this whole 3 months, and obviously I got more interested to contribute now to AWS Chaos or Chaosmas as a whole. Yeah, so that's it. Any questions? I guess I could see a question. Why refactor? Yeah, so basically what his plan was, since it's in Kotlin, now you need to have someone who is good in Golang. So for me, who knows Golang, for me it was difficult to know about this Kotlin part and write the AWS SSM chaos runner CLI. So my mentor has to do that work of writing the CLI for me. So if it is in Golang, it will be easier for someone to know. And also we could add our own features in Golang only, since the whole environment is built up in Golang. So that was the plan. That's not, as I said, that's not a priority. It's just an imagination we have. That's why I kept it in the third point. So that's the refactor thing about the whole turning the whole AWS system chaos runner into a Golang. Yeah, that's it. Any more questions? Okay. Yeah, so I guess no questions then. Thank you. That was that was from me. That's all from me.
All right. Thank you. So if
Yeah, welcome.
there's any more anyone else with any more questions, you're welcome to leave them in the chat box or ask after the updates. And right now I think I'll head over to Kual. Hey there, Kual.
Hi, can you hear
I'll
me?
st yep, I'll stop
Okay.
sharing.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, it's Carl here to talk about what we are doing during the last month. As a plan, we are down to the release 2.0 and we are finishing the end race towards 2.0. Most of the Chaosmas developers are concentrating on the existing features and try to make them more stable. And the ChaosD project has got a lot of new features. First part, I would like to introduce new features and some enhancements. For GCP chaos, disk list is supported in disk loose action, and for HTTP chaos, it's nearly done and is in reviewing stage now. For Chaos D, it has introduced a lot of interesting features. The most important one I see could be the scheduling. Yes, Chaos D finally starts its evolution towards a Chaos platform rather than a Chaos toolkits. It also empowers Chaos Mesh to deploy more complicated scenario in the mix of bare metal machine and the Kubernetes cloud environment. The second part is about the refactoring. Yes, we spent a lot of time to make Chaos Mesh easier to maintain and easier to extend. The 2.0 release is a chance to bring change and unburden us from some historical decisions. These refactorings can be concluded into these four parts. The first is we build a standalone schedule resource and build a standalone schedule resource controller for it. The second is we support duration only in chaos. So we can define chaos without schedule, but only with duration. The third is dependency injection. The fourth is multiple separated controllers. Yes, we split one controller into multiple standalone controllers. The reason why we want to do this refactoring is that we found it nearly impossible to implement these great features under the too complicated, too coupling schedule controller. Maybe most of you never read the original schedule controllers, but you can feel our fear and headaches when we are debugging and modifying the first version schedule controllers. At the very beginning, posing and modifying schedule field is not supported in the controller, so there are only 3 branches. However, as we are bringing more features, it became a really chaos. And in last December, we introduced a second version of schedule controller. We define a big table to decide what the controller should do when it wants to move from one state to another. However, this state is a global state, which means your chaos cannot be partially succeeded or cannot be partially applied. For example, if one of the selected pods failed to be injected, or the logics and even select the controller has to retry all the logics and even select new poles. So the current version that we are developing will store the state of every selected targets. Okay, let me show. Maybe I should move. Yes, it will store the state of every selected targets, and removing the schedule field makes the state much simpler. For most chaos, there are only 2 states. And the scheduler field is replaced by the schedule resource. Its definition is just like the cron job in Kubernetes, and it also supports workflow. Here, you can define a network chaos, and you can also define a workflow here, so that you can create a chaos or create a workflow cronally. Besides the refactoring and some new features, we also submit a patched release. 1.2.1. It includes some minor fixes for stress chaos dashboards and Helm charts. Is there any question? I think this is what we have done for last month. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, if there is no more questions, I could stop this sharing.
Hi, Carl.
Hi.
Maybe we can. We have a new schedule object. Why not rename this name? I think it's just kind of schedule. It's maybe a misunderstanding. I think maybe we can use a good name, a better name for this, such as schedule chaos experiment or such others maybe.
However, the object of it is not only a chaos, it could be a workflow.
Oh, I know it. That also is designed for workflow. Yeah, I know it. I got it.
So I don't think, for example, I don't think schedule chaos experiment is a good name for it because including a workflow in
Yeah, I got it. I got
Okay.
it. I know. This also designed for workflow. We also can use this to for design a schedule workflow, and also you can use it. Yeah. I have another question.
Okay.
Hi, Carl. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi. I have another question. So should we unify the names like the network chaos to camel case, the noise snake case?
Oh yes, it just reuse the workflow code generator. I think the workflow code generator has changed to the camel case, so I just need to merge and use that code generator to make it to the camel case.
Oh, okay. Know about it. I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, if there is no more questions, I would hand the screen to the Mila Wu.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the tech update. Ooh. Let me share my screen. Just one quick second. So we have a lot of content generated from the community in the past few weeks. We made Chaos Mesh available on Civo's Kubernetes marketplace last month, and Chengwen came through with a hands-on tutorial. And we have also another blog from Pavan Kumar talking about chaos engineering in Kubernetes using Chaos Mesh, which is a great blog. And we've retweeted it on the Twitter channel as well, and also a video and another blog by Sayam. And they're both awesome resources. So I think you should definitely go check out. And we've also got an upcoming talk at Kubernetes Community Day Spain. I think it's in Spanish, but I used Google Translate to translate the name. And I think it's COVID Real-Time Visualizer Project with Kubernetes, Linkerd, and Chaos Mesh. So if you know any Spanish at all, I think you should go check it out. And we've also got a lot of new contributors in the past few weeks, thanks to Bug Bash we attended at KubeCon. So a quick shout out to the new contributors at Chaos Mesh repo. And I think that's it for the community update. Any questions are welcome. So go ahead if you have any questions. Ooh,
Hello everyone. I want to ask one question.
go ahead.
If someone has hello,
Hey.
am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. If someone has multiple clusters, and then how can anyone inject failures from one single cluster to other clusters? Is it possible with chaos mesh?
Sorry, do you mind repeating that?
Uh, if someone has multiple clusters and he want to inject failures from one single cluster to other clusters, he want to inject failure from one cluster, like he centrally set up the whole chaos mesh set up in one cluster, and he want to inject failure to other clusters. Is it possible with chaos mesh injecting failure from outside the cluster?
I manage.
Hi Kevin.
You means how to use the chaos mesh to inject the failure out of the Kubernetes cluster from one cluster to another cluster.
Yes, Kevin.
Yeah, and the present chaos mesh only can use in one Kubernetes cluster, and just use it to inject the failure in application in this cluster. We can, but about network chaos, we can affect the network from the other cluster, but others, other chaos time, we can do it. If you want to inject some failure in single physical node or virtual node, you can use the KFC. You can use it outside the Kubernetes cluster, and also in the future we can use maybe in our plan we can use the Chaosmesh to control or manage the multiple Kubernetes cluster, but just in the future, we and present we can do it.
Also, one thing that in Prometheus there is something like that. If we want to scrape data from any cluster, there is one thing that you can set up Prometheus server as near as possible to the cluster. In that, they are trying to set up Prometheus in every cluster. They don't want to set up Prometheus in one central cluster. Is it same thing goes with the chaos mesh also? Is there is something that we want to set up chaos mesh in the cluster? Is there is any assumption before this?
Ooh, okay, maybe I can't get your point.
Okay. Is there is any assumption that we set up chaos mesh as near as possible to our cluster for injecting failures?
Hi, Mila.
Yeah, do you mind repeating that question again? Sorry.
Okay. Is there any assumption for that we set up chaos mesh inside one single cluster, like as near as possible to our the whole cluster thing, set up in that? Okay, then leave it. We can chat over Slack, Kevin.
Yeah, it's
I will.
easier to
Yeah.
type out the questions.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mila.
Sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Okay, sorry about this. Thanks, Manish.
No problem, Kevin. We can talk over Slack.
Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Maybe we also have another new component, Chaosd. You also can try it. And also we will do more things on these components. And also we will build the whole manager about the Kubernetes to manage the multiple Kubernetes cluster, and also in future this button and present we can use the chaos match, just one chaos match to manage the multiple Kubernetes clustered chaos environment, and present we can do it.
Yes, we can add this feature in our future roadmap that we can inject failure from one central cluster to other clusters. It is really helpful, and it is time saving for our users, that they can set up chaos mesh in only one single cluster and use it over all other clusters. It saves a lot more effort in setting the chaos mesh for them.
Okay. Manish, maybe you can send your question in our Slack channel, and we can. I will answer your questions in Slack channel. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you. Hi. Nila?
Yeah. The slides will be uploaded in the meeting notes after the meeting is over. So if you missed that, no worries. And if you have any more Q&A that's waiting to be answered, please ask them in our Slack channel. And I think we'll wrap it up for now, and see you all next month. And you're all welcome to follow Chaos Smash on all forms of social media. So I think that's it. See you next month, guys. Bye.